3 times, bruh.
3.
At least 3 times.
I got you. I got you set for 2.
At least, you said what? 2? Man. Coach Reed, put your... Hey, Coach. Hey, see. Hey. Hey. That's going down tonight. Man. Well, I love this show, man. Love this show, boy. I love this show, boy. I love it.
How about that?
What's up? Hey, good evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening. You tuning in to the baddest man in the land. Hey, I had to put a suit on for y'all this week, but they thought I was getting some feedback from the listeners. They was like, man, you ain't had on no suit in a while. Said, hey, so I had to get back to the basics, you know what I'm saying? Let them know, you know, what we're about. Thank you for tuning in. This is Joaquin Thompson, the host of the Daily Bread Radio Show. One of the most phenomenal shows on the internet, one of the most phenomenal shows really in existence because it's anointed. I'm gonna just go on and say that. Man, why you?
Man, how you gonna break with people?
Man, I ain't never seen nothing like this, man.
How you gonna
Hey, if y'all know somebody who got a good studio and a producer, can you put it in the little comment section so I can go and follow up on that? Cause I come in here, they don't have no chair, I don't have no pen. I'm like, the pen broke. I'm like, come on, man. If you put it in the chat, if you know somebody, if you know a producer and a microphone,
yeah, I guarantee you.
Put it in the chat.
I guarantee you ain't gonna find nothing.
Coming here, I got to fight with the producer about a chair. Well, like, where I'm gonna sit at? He's gonna give me a lounge chair.
Indian style, bro.
I'm like, come on, man. But day Thursday, I'm glad to be here. Super excited to be here. Love got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. We're gonna have our raffle. We've been raising funds for these kids, so a lot of people got a little, you know, I don't know if they got confused or mixed. Oh, you put out there's gonna be $1 million. That's for the full campaign. So the full campaign that we're gonna run between now and April. Between now and April. Our goal is to raise $1 million to help students that are in colleges and universities on a national level that need assistance with funding in order to graduate. So I didn't talk a lot about this last show because we kind of ran out of time, but there's a lot of students within the U.S. that they've completed 3.5 years or even 4 years of college. They've, you know, gotten to the point where they're ready to graduate. They're right on the cusp of graduating. They've already got their graduations announcements. They've already told their parents, hey, come down to Tuskegee or come up to Howard or come to Tallahassee or come to South Carolina, come to Orangeburg. We didn't, you know, come to Ohio State, come to Harvard, Yale, Princeton, any college you want to think of. And people are not talking about this, but here's the deal. A lot of people, a lot of students get to that point. Like I'm talking about, you ready to graduate. You just sent out the announcements and you've totally tapped out, or students have totally tapped out as far as funding that they need in order to graduate. Meaning they've tapped out financial aid, they've maxed out their loans, the parents are, you know, the parents are maxed out, friends, family, and they only short like $2,500, $3,500. But for those of you all that have been through that process, you know, those schools, when they say, I need $3,500 or you will not walk, they mean that. They mean that. And just the experience alone, just the experience of graduating is worth $25,000. So, you know, I received the email a little over a year ago from my alma mater, Howard University. They had 224 students that were at risk for not graduating.
Wow.
In that commencement ceremony. Howard University, one of the premier institutions in the world.
That's crazy.
224 students at risk for not being able to graduate, and they only needed 1.3 million. And the reason I say only, because, you know, with me, I'm analytical. So a lot of times I think about like $1 million, okay, 10,000 people can give $100, we got it. I mean, pretty much. It's 50 million African Americans in the U.S. We spend over $1 billion on just hair products. We spend like 1.2. We command, and we have $1.1 trillion come through our hands on an annual basis. So what's $1 million? So we can't, you know, put up that barrier when these students have done all of that work, because one of the things that happens too is some of these students end up not graduating, unfortunately. So what happens when you don't graduate? Not only do you not get the equity out of putting in the effort to get your degree, you also still have those student loans that you're accountable for. And the thing about student loans is this: you can file bankruptcy and you can write off everything in a bankruptcy. You can do a 7 or 11. You pick, you choose, however you want to do it. But the one thing is listen to this, is one thing that you cannot get rid of in a bankruptcy. And take a wild guess what that is. Student loan. So what I decided to do was just pick up the mantle. I said, hey, I'll do it. We'll put some things out there. We'll raise some funds. We'll bring some awareness to it, because you know that the majority of the students that are being impacted look like who? You and me. That's the majority. They look like you and me. So that's my son, daughter, my grandson, my granddaughter, my niece, nephew, cousin, friend. That's who's in that 224. And 224, that's one school. So think about all of the HBCUs. Think about all the students that should have graduated from FAM last year that didn't graduate from FAM because they had an outstanding balance. Or Tuskegee, or Fisk, or Prairie View, or Texas Southern, or Central. So South Carolina State, BCC. So the way that I had been thinking about it was, and I was talking to my producer. My producer is brilliant. I get on him a lot, but real smart guy, real brilliant. And one of the things that we're going to talk about tonight, we're going to have the drawing. So one of the things that I did this year was purchase some tickets for the Atlanta Falcons. Got a new stadium, awesome, beautiful stadium. I mean, just simply gorgeous. When the roof ain't leaking. I don't know how I feel about spending $1 billion, and when I get the remote and I press the remote for my, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like buying a GTS Mercedes. I mean, fully loaded, got the Hancocks on it, all the Continentals, got everything crushed, got the leather packs, got everything, navigation, all the sensors. But the roof leaking. How the heck? So off the blank, first the roof wouldn't close. Not a roof leaking, but when the roof not leaking, it's an awesome facility. So what I decided to do was like, look, I'll purchase some tickets and I'll donate them to a nonprofit that I created about 5 years ago. It's called American Financial Literacy Association. So what I did was purchase the tickets, donated them to the nonprofit organization. And the nonprofit organization, using the nonprofit, what I'm doing is trying to bring awareness to raise funds for those students that are at risk for not graduating. So today is just, we 1 week in. So I started the campaign last week, and now I'm a week into it. Now the funny thing is this. So you all, people in the listening audience, you all may find this funny, but it's the way that we think. So one of the things I always talk about on the show is, and I'm going to get into finishing the business, because this week we talked about some business steps last week, so I'm going to continue with that. But definitely had to get this out front because it's been on my mind this week. And I just wanted to share with the listening audience how your mind works and how we have to change the way that we think. We have to change the way that we think. listen to what I'm saying to you. You have to change the way that we think. So I'm going to give you an example. Great cause. I was just telling you about I'm trying to raise funds, and we're going to run the campaign through April, right? But one thing about when you start to do something, or you have, you're all excited about something, passionate, you put something out there, you think everybody that comes into contact with is going to be just as passionate as you are about it, because it's like, hey, this just makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, students, they're not able to graduate. I mean, what's $5? Man, donate it. And then you had the chance of winning tickets to see the Dallas Cowboys. All these people posting stuff on Facebook. They Dallas Cowboy fan, go Cowboys, them boys. So you thinking like, oh, this is gonna be great. But then when I did the video, I did multiple postings. They shared it. I talked about it on the show last week. Showed the tickets. But then I set the goal. First, I had $1 million in my GoFundMe account, but then I said people getting confused. So that's really for the full campaign. So I broke it down. So 5,000. That's, hey, that's reasonable. So I put 5,000 in, and I kept refreshing my dashboard on GoFundMe, and it kept saying, I thought the number was gonna change, but the number just kept coming back, $50. $50. I said, well, God darn, $50. I said it was $50 yesterday. So every day I'm going in, checking it, $50. I do another post. Hey, y'all, come on, y'all. $50. But here's the thing. So in my mind, I'm thinking in my mind like, wow, man, ain't but $50 anybody. But then something always clicks in my mind and says, okay, wait a minute, let's think about this. Do you realize that when people run advertising, right? If you do an advertising campaign, direct mail campaign, anything where you're soliciting people to take an action, the normal rate of return, right? So if you send out 1,000 pieces, 10,000 pieces, 1,000,000 pieces, if you run, 100 commercials, 200 commercials, 300, the normal rate of return, anytime that you're doing advertising, is 1% to 2%. It's typically 1% to 2%. So when I started thinking about that, I said, you know what? There you go. So I'm right on pace. 5,000. What's 1% of 5,000? 50, right? 10% would be 500. 1% is 50. So that brought it back into perspective. But here's the other thing. So I came into the studio tonight, talking to my producer about it. I said, man, you know what? So I put that campaign out there, and we raised $50. He looked at me, he was like, so I said, guess what I was thinking? He didn't even look up. He said, that's how it's supposed to be. I said, what you mean? He said, cause you just started. I was like, see, that's why I can't have him on the show. Cause my brain is just, if I ever let y'all see him, this joke gonna try to put on this suit and be me. If I ever let y'all, I'm sorry, you will never ever see the producer, ever. If you ever see the producer, that's the end. The show is over. So y'all ain't never got to worry about seeing him, because I'm smart. I know who to bring on and who not. So you ain't got to never worry about seeing, what's your name?
Methuselah.
You ain't never got to worry about seeing Methuselah. But so we're gonna do the drawing tonight for a pair of tickets to see the Dallas Cowboys. But I definitely appreciate it's all about mindset. It's all about you know how it is. You be swearing you going to the moon, and then like you out of gas. But you got to change the way we think, man, and start thinking longer term, meaning 5-year, 10-year, 25. Do you realize? And I'm getting kind of off tangent, but it's appropriate to the conversation. And you all can call into the show. I mean, call in if you got some comments, if you want to say hey, or if you got a comment about something, or if you want to ask a question about personal finance. The number to the studio is 678-381-1973. 678-381-1973. Give me a call. Give me a shout. Let me know you're out there. You can call with a question, comment, anything that you want to do. But we got to start planning longer range. And I'm going to give you an example. I listened to an interview one time for, this guy was the president of Hennessy. He wasn't like a founder, the CEO. He was the president. And he was talking about the different types of cognac that they make and how long it takes to age. So he was like, yeah, we got a 1 year, we have a 5-year, we have a 10, 15, 25, we have a 50. And he said, we just started to barrel 100-year cognac. And this was about 4 or 5 years ago. So the announcer was like, 100 years? You'll be dead. You'll be gone. 100 years? He's like, that's the way that our company, that's the vision of our company, is that 100 years from now, we will be uncorking this 100-year, aged cognac, 100-year aged cognac. That's going to be pretty expensive, because I was just out of the country, and I saw a bottle of, I think it was a 50-year or 25-year cognac that they had. It was above the XO. It was $3,000 for like a liter. So I'm saying that to say we're better than Hennessy. So if you got kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, friends, anybody that's behind you, that's in your legacy, you got to take the lead and start thinking about putting them into place where we can start taking steps up and stop going in circles. You know how your phone be looking for the Wi-Fi and it's just doing this? You're not making progress if you're just doing this. You know, birth, go through your age span, get old, get older, die, and then now it's your son or daughter, their turn, and they go around in that circle. We got to get rid of that circle. We got to create some steps. So that way when you come in, you go through your lifespan, you put some things in place, put some knowledge in place, then when you pass on, then your kids should be able to take what you did and step up onto something. Give them something to step up on, and then when they go through the life cycle, then it's time for your grandkids, then you step up again. Because that's in the Bible. It says, a good man, and I'm sure it's talking about women too, so we're not going to be discriminating, because I know it's a lot of bad sisters out there, strong sisters that's raising families. So when we say man, we're talking about man and woman. A good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So we got work to do. So that's part of my philosophy. And you listen to the Daily Bread radio show, that's what we're about. We're not about the here and now, because we're going to get the here and now, but we also going to make it where when our grandkids come through and our granddaughters, grandsons, they're not going to be asking the same questions that we were asking, like, how am I going to go to college? Where the money's going to come from me to go to college? Oh, I want to start a business. How much? You need $15,000 for a franchise. Oh, don't nobody have no $15,000 for that. No, we're going to have some different conversations. We're going to be like, how many and how much? How many? You want to open up a Subway? Great. They're building a new stadium? Great. They're getting to put up a new complex. They're developing over in such and such and such. We need to put it in, because now we have the opportunity to take advantage of what was given to us, the blessing that was given to us by our parents, and they were expressly stressing education. So we got it. More and more African Americans educated now than anybody else. So now we just have to use it, because to be educated and not to use it is to be uneducated. So with that being said, I want to make sure I get everything in tonight, because sometimes when I get going, I get so excited, the time just gets away from me. But definitely, you can call into the show, 678-381-1973, 678-381-1973. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip my agenda tonight. I'm going to kind of do some of the things I usually do at the end. I'm going to bring them in. I'm going to bring them in now, because I don't want you all to miss it. So here's the deal. Book of the week. Every week since I've been on this show, I always stress a book of the week. And the reason I stress the book of the week is because it's my theory that the more you read, the better off you will be. And no man, this is a quote from Benjamin Franklin, no man will live long enough to learn everything that he or she needs to know in order to be successful. So you may feel like, hey, I'm successful now, but it's a higher level of success that you may aspire to attain, that you need to read in order to get some of that knowledge. So, studies will show that millionaires, they read on average 5 books a month. The average adult in the U.S. reads like 1 book a year. So what I try to do is make sure that I stress the importance of reading a book. And every week I highlight a book. And I bring some bangers. I only bring books that I've read. So I'm not bringing you any books that I can just pull off the shelf and say, hey, read this. And I haven't read it. I always bring it. And you'll see in a few minutes where you can tell that I've read these books because my producer said, I showed him the one book. He said, "What is this, a book in a book? A book inside a book?" I said, no, it's just, it's been used. So one of the things that we talked about over the next 12 months, of that, the challenge that I put out 2 weeks ago was that everybody that listens to the Daily Bread radio show should aspire to do 2 things over the next 12 months. And those 2 things are start a business, or if you already have a business, start another business, some other form of business. Start a business and write a book. Because the thing about writing a book is, once you write a book is timeless. A book will live on forever. And the other thing about having a book is this. Now you have product. And I was just listening to a young man a couple weeks ago, and I talked about this last week. You know, he was talking about, you know, people trapping or, you know, selling product, but he was like, from a business standpoint, he said, the reason I grind so hard is because I always feel like I have to have some type of product in order to sell. Because if somebody comes to me and they want to purchase product, what do you have to offer? So if somebody was to approach you, like, hey, Jane Doe, John Doe, I want to, you know, support your business, or I want to buy your product. What do you have to sell? Do you have a book? Do you have T-shirts? What do you have to sell that would be product? So for me, a book, I'm gonna give you all a little inside scoop on writing a book. If you write a book, you can sell that book for the rest of your life, no matter how old the book is. I wrote a book back in 2007. It's called My College Finance, A Guide to Understanding Personal Finance for Students and Parents. I wrote that book back in September of 2007. This is 2017. I am still selling the book right now and still making a nice profit off of the sale of the book. But now it's time for me to write another book. It's kind of like having one album. I need a new album now, you know. So I'm also putting the challenge out to myself because I want to write another book over the next 12 months and start another business. So with that being said, the book of the week, this is a very deep book. And I would encourage you to go out to Amazon or go to your local bookstore and pick up a copy, because this book is an excerpt from a larger book by this author, James Allen. And James Allen wrote maybe 20 different books, because I have the compilation in one big book. It's called A Mastermind. But this one book definitely changed the way that I think, and it's called As a Man Thinketh. The title alone says enough. And what happens is he talks about in the book the way that you have to take time and change the way that you run your mind, change the way that you look at the world, change the way that you look at things like failure. And this is something that I was thinking about on the way to the studio today too, is, you know, we have to look at failure differently. And the thing about failure is this: if you're not failing, you're not making progress. Because in order for you to make progress, you have to be willing to fail. And you have to be willing to fail multiple times. Most people don't want to fail because they want to be embarrassed. They don't want no people saying, see, I told you so. But when you fail, you learn something. And when you fail, you learn something. And you take what you learn and you build upon it, and that's going to help you to get to success a lot faster. So don't think you're just going to go from 0 to success. You got to go through failure. So my theory is this: fail a lot and fail fast. Don't fail and just don't learn from it and keep doing the same thing. Fail, learn from it, try it again, retool it, redo it, go again, right? So don't worry about failure. But this book also, it talks to you about changing the way that you think, getting all of the animosity out your mind, getting all of that's what I call secret hater disease. Because sometimes people, they have some there's some haters out there. They haven't verbalized it, they haters, but in their mind, they haters because in their mind they thinking like, dang, well, I don't have whatever they think they should have, right? But you don't know what the other person has been through. So I always say, I may not want what you got because because when I ask to get what you have, that means that I'm willing to take on everything that you've been through, and some of that I got enough stuff to do. I'm good. I don't need to take on none of that. So I'm like, if you see me do this, that means I'm good. Hey, more power to you. I believe you. You do your thing, whatever. So, but this is a great book to have. It's a very easy read. It's only like 90 pages. And the good thing about this book, it has a section where every day you can read a different excerpt. And it's 31 days, similar to like Proverbs. You can just read it daily and just read that one excerpt, and it would definitely change your mind. So, As a Man Thinketh, it's a great book to have, and add that one to your collection. The other book, this is the one that my producer was getting them. Now you notice on the back here, I got to be transparent, so I got to tell you the story about this. I know, oh my goodness, right? This from the library. I meant to show it to you all this way. You know, you showing somebody something, they be like, hey man, your pants zip down. Okay, y'all got me. All right. It's a library book. But I've provided restitution for it. So what ended up happening was, so I got to tell the story now that it's out. This was the only copy of this book that was in the library. Before I wrote my book, they said this was the best book to read if you wanted to write a book. So I took this book from the library and intentionally did not take it back because I said, I got to write this book. I got to get it done. So what I ended up doing was what? They charged me for the book, and I went back and paid them for the book. So I'm good. I don't have any problem with that. So that's why it still has this on it, because at one time it was a library book, but I freed it. Now, the reason I said this book is definitely been used, you can see like the cover comes out very easily. It's in multiple pieces. But the thing about this book, I know that's funny. The thing about this book is it will take you, if you want to write a book, right? You can purchase this book. It's called The Self-Publishing Manual by Dan Poynter. You can go out on Amazon, pick up a copy. He has a revised copy that's out there now. This book, I'm going to tell you from experience, if you want to write a book, this book will take you through each step of writing a book, from when it comes to an idea, to your outline, to editing, to formatting, to getting it registered with the Library of Congress, how to market it, your front cover, what should be on your back cover, words that you should use, it would take you, literally step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. It would take you right through it. So it's a good thing to have. And some people say, well, man, I'm not a good writer. With the technology that we have today, you don't have to be a good writer. But everybody has a story. Everybody got a story. So if you just told your story, how you grew up, where you grew up, tell some of them things that you've been into that nobody knew, like, whoa, wow, I didn't know you know, oh, okay. But it just makes for a good read. And this book is very good. It's still, I wrote all through it, highlighted, and I'm going to use it again because it's a very good resource for writing a book. So if you want to pick up a book that's really good for you, this would be it. So now we got the book of the week out of the way. As a Man Thinketh in the Self-Publishing. We're great on our time. We still have the drawing to go for them Cowboys tickets, so we still got that out there. We did have the cutoff because I'm in the GoFundMe account right now, so I'm checking that out. So I refreshed it, and I think we're still on the same number. So that's all good because we're going to keep, like I said, we're going to run the campaign from now to April. So just so happened this is one of the campaigns within a larger campaign where we're going to be giving away a pair of tickets to see the Atlanta Falcons versus Dallas Cowboys. So want to give a couple quick shout outs. Kenny Hodge, I see you joining. Got you, bro. I got you too. I seen my partner in crime from way back 30 years ago. I seen Kenny on earlier, and I appreciate y'all because that means the world to me, man. I mean, just to have, you don't need one person. Just say, hey, man, you doing it. And for me, you know, I don't, and people who know me, you know, I don't need but one. If I can get one, I'm good. So I know my wife, my beautiful wife, Tanya, she's always on. And I love when the homies get on as well. So I appreciate y'all, you know, joining in. Teresa, I saw you earlier. I appreciate you joining. Bert Cool, seeing you, brother. You know, hey, nothing but love. And Kenny Gray down in Tampa. Now, call me, man. I mean, Kenny Gray used to be my right-hand man. I mean, the whole nine, mom, everybody. So we good, but it's nothing like friendship. So I appreciate you all, and I'm going to keep doing my thing as long as you all keep tuning in. That's why I asked the producer earlier, like, how long is he going to do this? So I don't know if he about to, you know, faint and not be able to finish. Then I can get my own producer and my own radio show studio thing. But this guy here, and you'll never see him. You'll never ever see my producer. Even if you see us in public, I am not going to introduce him as my producer. So you'll never see him. He don't even exist. But so I'm gonna jump in and give you all a few last points on starting a business. So I'm gonna give you a quick recap. Thomas Taylor, I appreciate you too, brother. Thank you for the feedback. So last week we talked about starting a business, and these were my steps for starting a business. So I'll give you a quick recap. If you didn't catch last week's show, it's out on Facebook Live. You can check that out. But just real shortly, I'm going to give you a brief recap. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to decide. You want to decide on what type of business. And the key there is you decide. Don't let somebody talk you into, oh, you cook real well, you should open up a restaurant. It should be a business that you want to do. Not what somebody else said, friends and family. Because one thing about friends and family, once you get that business going and them doors open and they get tight, when they get tight, some people take flight. That's what I'm bro, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, you open it. Oh, you got a new business. Man, I gotta stop. Stop it, man. Hey. Okay. So that means you make sure it's something that you decide that you want to do. So the next thing that we talked about is make sure you do a business plan. Do your business plan, because the business plan is going to ask some of those questions that when we start a business, a lot of times we don't want to deal with. But those are the type of questions that you want to deal with before you open the business, so that way it'll keep you out of trouble. Because sometimes you jump right into business and you ain't even thought about how you're going to market it, you know, your social media presence, do you need a website, so on and so forth. So how are you going to fund it, you know, things of that nature. So you really want to be very diligent and do your due diligence and take your time. Complete a business plan. Complete it. Some people out there say, oh, you don't have to. Complete a business plan, because most times business plans will bring things up that you may have you may not have thought about, but things that you need to address, like funding. And funding is a big one. So make sure you complete your business plan. We also talked about due diligence. And due diligence that's where you go out and you find out all of the things that you need in order to operate the business correctly, right? You don't want to be cutting corners. If you need to get licensure, if you're going to have to deal with, you know, the health department, or if you're going to have to deal with Department of Agriculture, sales, whatever you need to deal with for your particular business, do your due diligence. Take some time. Don't be in a rush. Find out what you need, because once you get into the business, you're going to be accountable for it. So make sure that you do your due diligence. The other thing that I talked about, I recommended, is you need to get you a good attorney. And the reason you need to get a good attorney, because the good attorney, what he or she's going to do is they're going to help you decide what type of business that you're going to open. Because a lot of times people say, hey, I got a business. But then when you ask them, like, what kind of business do you have? They're like, what do you mean? I got a restaurant. Like, no, I mean, what type of formation do you have? Is it a sole proprietorship? Is it a partnership? Is it a corporation? Is it an S corporation? Is it a C corporation? And people start looking at me like they about to explode. Like, what you talking about? You need to have a good attorney, because what the attorney's going to do is the attorney's going to help you break down what type of business formation is going to be best for you and which one is going to be most beneficial. Because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're in a tax advantage position, meaning you're in a business where you're going to be paying the least amount of taxes and it's going to benefit you. Because some people have a 9-to-5 job and they have a business, so there's certain business formations that you want to be in. And then you also got to think about your risk for being sued. So if somebody come into your restaurant, eat some of your food, start to choke on it, or they say, hey, I got sick, I got salmonella, E. coli, I had diarrhea all night, they're going to come back and try to sue you. Not only are they going to be talking about you on social media, but they're going to try to come back and sue you too, because they're going to, say, hey, this happened at such and such, Bob's Big Boy Restaurant. And you don't want that, so you want to have an attorney involved so that way you can structure your business in such a way that they don't come after you personally, but they go after the business. Let the business be separate from you. So separate yourself from the business. So we talked about making sure that you have a good attorney involved. Make sure you have a good bookkeeper. Somebody can keep track of things like sales tax, payroll, any fines, or anything that you need to pay in advance. Hopefully you won't get to the point where you have fines or get behind. And I'm telling you from experience, because they done slapped some stuff on me. Bam! Like, what is this? Oh, you ain't never filed such and such, so give me $1,200 more. I'm like, God darn. So you definitely want to have a good bookkeeper in place, because a bookkeeper can help you with pricing, it can help you with profit margins, it can help you with reserves. You talk about, when you want to bring on other investors, or if you just need somebody to, finance the business, things of that nature. So you always want to have that in place. And then we start talking about funding. Funding capital, money, skin, biscuits, cheddar, cheese, dinero, whatever you want to call it. That's the number one thing that you're going to need in order to run a business. All them other steps I tell you about, those are excellent. You're going to need that. But let me tell you something. If that money tight, I don't care what kind of business you got. You can have a soul food restaurant. You can have a back massage business. You can have foot massage. You can have a dog walking. If you don't have no money, let me tell you something. It's going to get tight, and it's going to get tight quick. And it's not like now you think you've been in a fight or argument about some money before on some regular. Have a business, and have a partner, and that partner could be in the form of a spouse or a friend or a family member, and let that money get tight. You will see something that you've never seen before. You will see some people turn into they'll be out, and it's ugly. So from a funding standpoint, we talked about traditional. You can always go to a traditional bank. Very, very difficult to get traditional lending, especially when you're a startup. You don't have any track record. This might be your first one. After you've been in it for a while, and after you have a seasoned team, because a lot of times people think it's the business that they're looking at. Banks just want to know one thing. What's the probability of me getting my money back? That's what I want to know. If I give you money, can I get my money back? So traditional funding, traditional banks rather, a little difficult. A lot of times you may have to go through a micro lender or go through some other programs like the SBA, Small Business Administration, get some advice from like SCORE, the Service Corps of Retired Executives. Get somebody to advise you, get a strong team, because the other thing is when you put your package together for the bank, this is not like going in for an auto loan where you just fill out an application and you shove it across the table and say, hey, am I approved? When you go in for a business loan, they're going to ask you for a lot of different things. That's where you're going to need that attorney, that bookkeeper. They want to see your pro forma. They want to see, how the business is. They want to see projections and all that. And trust me, you don't know everything. So you're going to need to have a strong team behind you, or some people that are expertise in those certain areas, like a attorney, bookkeeper, accountant, so on and so forth. So make sure that you have those people in place. So from a funding, now the last thing on the funding, because I'm going to keep it moving. On the funding, a lot of times it's us. Some people call it bootstrap. Some people call it, going into your savings. You may have to dip into your savings, You may have to take out, home equity loan. You may have to hit your 401k. That's why step number one is so important. Make sure it's a business that you want to do. Because when you start taking money out from your 401k, or you start taking money out from your savings, or you start taking a home equity loan, and that business start going this way instead of going up, it start going in, them just gonna be like nuck. They gonna be like nuck if you buck, boy. Hey, it's going down. So make sure step number one is something that you want to do, or at least you have a passion for, so that way you can endure, like it says in the Bible, you can endure hardness as a good soldier. So you want to make sure that you do number one, because when you fund it, and you make sure that you fund it right. Don't just come in and say, hey, we open it, do some projections, talk to some people that have been in there. Don't just open a business and think you got to think long term, 5, 10 years. Don't be thinking like, oh, I got, $10,000. That might seem a lot on a personal level. $10,000 in a business, man, go like that. It can go like that. I mean, go quicker than that. So just think through it and make sure that working with someone. We talked about also when you was doing your due diligence, not to backtrack, but just to be inclusive. Make sure that you get, everything registered with the Secretary of State, because we done doing the hustle. We all had hustles. We all had a side hustle. I do hair on the side. I braid. I do this. I sell hair. I sell. I ain't gonna. Well, I got stopped like, it's a gospel show, but we all had side hustles. We do things. We wash cars. We detail whatever. But that's a hustle. What we try to do now is get people to move into a business space. Because if you move into a business space and you get Secretary of State, you got your EIN with the IRS, then that's when the beauty comes, because now not only can your business be profitable once you get it going, but now you have some tax advantages. And life starts to look a little different when you do it that way. Do it. Forget the hustle. Leave the hustle to the young people. Most of y'all probably my age. So leave the hustle to the young people. And for the young people, start to show them how to create a business. Not a hustle. Show them how to create a business, so that way they can start to take advantage of these tax advantages and these business advantages at a younger age, and forget the hustle. Because like Ice Cube said it best. It's a whole lot more legal money than illegal money. And illegal money is not just doing something that's illegal, like selling an illegal product, but illegal is also doing things that are not approved by the IRS that can get you some federal time if they find out that you're doing it. So it's nothing worse than having to do some federal time behind selling some ribs that you shouldn't have been selling because you got them from the bootleg man. So make sure you set your business up right. You're definitely going to need to have a marketing plan in place. And part of your marketing plan is letting people know, putting your shingle out, letting people know what you do, where you are, you're gonna need to know the cost of acquiring a customer. It's a cost involved with acquiring a customer. It is a cost. Nobody's just gonna run to your business like, no, it's a cost involved. And that cost, how much marketing did you have to do? How much advertising did you have to do? How many people did you have to talk to? How many people did you have to hire? All of that, it's called acquisition cost. How much does it cost to acquire one customer, 2 customers, 3 customers? How much does it cost you when somebody in your company is being smart, when somebody has a problem and then you lose a customer? So you got to think about that too. So think about your marketing plan. Think about also your target population. Who are you going to target this towards? Like, you can't have a business like this for everybody. Your business is not for everybody. Know your demographic. 18 to 35, men, women, whatever. It depends on the type of business that you have. So make sure that you take some time and think through that, and all of that will be in your marketing plan as well. So, and lastly, what I would say, because I'm gonna give you all the abbreviated version. Lastly, what I would say is you got to have some grit. And what I mean by grit is, once you get into the business arena, it's going to be difficult. Being an entrepreneur is a 25-hour a day, 8-day-a-week job. And I know exactly what I just said. 25 hours a day, 8 days a week. Because I can tell you from experience, I remember some days sleeping at the business on the floor, so that way I wouldn't be missing them customers when they came the next day because they were looking for their order. I remember days with me and my wife making cakes and the power done went out. Somebody ran into a transformer, now the power out. We can't just leave and go home, and them people coming looking for their product the next day. So when you start doing business, you got to be ready to say, hey, I'm in it. I'm here. It ain't no going home. It ain't no I'm going to go home and watch TV. Your feet going to be hurting. Your pride going to be hurt. You're going to be losing money. But you got to be steadfast. You have to have grit. You have to be like, hey, I'm here. I'm good. And you just work at being good, because you got to be bad to be good, right? This is how it goes. You got to be bad. And I don't mean bad in a good way. I mean bad. Like bad to be good, and then you have to be good to be great. Because you're not going to just open your doors and be like the top of your industry, and because you're going to go back and look at some of that stuff that you did when you first did, and you're like, oh my goodness, I thought this was the bomb, and when you look at it now, you're like, that was, ooh. They paid me for that. You're going to feel bad. But it's all good, because it's part of the process. So the last thing I want to leave you with is do your research. I just gave you some quick tips, some things that I've done in opening different businesses as an entrepreneur, lessons that I've learned. But the last thing that I want you all to do, and this is probably the most important step. Number one is the most important step, and this last step is the most important step when you're doing a business. You go out and do the research for your business. Don't rely on the Daily Bread radio show. Don't say, hey man, you left out licensing. I ain't leave out nothing. I'm telling you, you go and do the research and find out what you need to do and start a successful business, so that way we can support each other in business. Because if we support each other like some of these other cultures support each other, you don't have to worry about no customers, because I'm going to come to you because you look like me, right? You may not have the best ribs in Atlanta. You may not have the best whatever, but I'm going to come to you anyway, because I'd rather give my money to you than give it to somebody else. And that's, once we get that type of mentality to permeate not only with us, but in our kids and in our kids' kids, you don't have to worry about no customers. And let's not be so hard on black business owners, because sometimes we can go in there and have such a bad attitude about a mistake, right? Just attitude about a mistake. Like, okay, it was the wrong color, but we're going to go all up the wall, down the wall, that's why I don't come. Bruh, we need to be better stewards of the way that we act and behave with each other. Bruh, I ain't worried about you made a mistake. I mean, you can either give my money back and just redo it. I'm good. I don't care. But let's not tear each other down about nothing. About you put lemon and it was supposed to be chocolate, and you curled it up this way. We can be so vile and so nasty to each other that it will break the spirit of some people, and they say, you know what? Forget about it. Just forget it. I don't even want to do it if they're going to act like that. So we got to be, treat people the way that we want to be treated. And we're going to make mistakes as business owners. And I'm telling you from experience, and people can get so bad. They used to get so bad. What else? This one lady, she was going on and on. I said, you know what? And this was something that me and my wife did. Sometimes the people would complain so much, you know what we would do? We said, you know what? We ain't even going to give you this cake. You can't even have it. How about that? You can't even pay me for it. You know why? Because the energy that you're using in the bakery, I don't need you to go out into the world and go where you're going, eat my cake, and still talk about all what is not and all this, that. Just leave it. Just have peace. So that's business. Start your business, though. I mean, it's nothing like making your own money. It's not like having your own. And that's one of the things that we have to, really stress going forward, especially in this day and time, is having our own. Because when you have your own, you're the decision maker. You make the decision. Who get hired, who get fired, who's coming, who's going, who can get this money, who can't get this money. It's nothing like, nobody has any say-so in that but you. So it's nothing better in the world than you creating your own money on your own terms with no input from nobody else other than your business partner, whoever that might be, or your business team. So that's that. The number to the radio station. What I said, the radio
I
station?
don't know what you said. Radio state.
The radio station.
Yes.
Okay, the number to the radio station. The number to the station is 678-381-1973. We did the book of the week. We went through business. This is episode 28. We going for 1,000. Couple of things I'm gonna share with you all. Check this out. Check this out. This right here, this is what I'm saying about dreaming. And I know we got a little time. We ain't gonna go overtime, but I'm gonna share this with you all. This right here is the T-shirt. This AFLA. My son did the logo, and my producer has a T-shirt business, right? So I sent him the logo. This is the American Financial Literacy Association. The thing that makes this so important is this. This was an idea, right? This was an idea that I had a while back that I said, you know what? I need to create my own nonprofit because I want to help students and help people get more educated on financial literacy, and I need to do it myself. I can't wait on somebody else. So this is the manifestation of an idea, of a dream. So kudos to my producer in his T-shirt business. He created some T-shirts for me. So so if you see me, I'm gonna have this on for the most part, wherever I go. Once I get the right size. Now he trying to say something, he ordered a 2X. Now I said I'm gonna get a little fit. I'm gonna start working out some more, but I'm not no 2X. So for right now, when you all see this, if you come to my house, it'll be hanging up, on the wall or on the chair, but it won't be on my body because I'm not a 2X. But I love it, and I appreciate it for him. And just wanted to show you all, once you start taking those steps, things are going to open up for you. That's step number one. Now here's some more powerful information. Nationally, check this out, and please share this with your friends, family members. I'm going to give it to you all like this. Nationally, big companies, and for all of the people that, work for a corporation or 9 to 5, you might work for a hospital, you may work for a bank. All the different employee groups now, they have a way that you can donate to your favorite charity. So a lot of times sometimes they'll have campaigns like, oh, this is the giving period. We're going to raise $1 million for your favorite charity and we'll match it. So I had been seeing that for years. So what I decided to do was like, you know what? I need to not have a hustle, but make sure that I do everything correctly for my nonprofit to get my nonprofit entered into that database, right? So I'm very excited to say, as of 3 weeks ago, I got my final notifications that listen to what I'm saying to you, nationally, Fortune 500, small business, mid-sized, any business, if you go into your giving campaign, you go into work tomorrow, you go and look it up, you could put in American Financial Literacy Association. American Financial Literacy Association. If you put that into your giving campaign when it says, I want to donate to my favorite charity, you can go right in, and my nonprofit that me and my team set up, American Financial Literacy Association, it will come up. You can make a one-time donation, or you can make a reoccurring donation like, hey, every pay period I'm going to give $3 or $5, whatever you want to give, right? A lot of companies will match that. So if you give $5, they may give $5, right? So I work for a very large corporation. So I went in. This is not me going in saying, hey, I'm going to give, because I was giving to another nonprofit for years. So I said, let me go and see if my approval came through. I went in, I started typing American Financial, and before I could finish writing it, boop, popped up, my EIN number, everything legit. I put it in. I said, let me test it out. I was just too hyped. I said, well, let me put some money in. See, I put my money in. How about the money went right through to the nonprofit? It's all electronic behind the scenes, got everything set up through my charity with PayPal and the bank, because PayPal kind of plays this intermediary type deal. But anyway, I made a donation. The company matched my donation and sent it to the nonprofit. So pretty powerful stuff. If you have the time when you get to work this week, or if you want to check on, if you're having a giving campaign, definitely do me a favor and check it out and see if you see the American Financial Literacy Association listed in your favorite charity section at your corporation. Now we've come to the time that everybody's been waiting for, because everybody's been looking for, like, who's gonna win those tickets? Who's gonna win? Who is gonna win those tickets? Now, one of the things that you got to be able to, we got them too. We not playing with y'all. We serious. And one thing about this show, I love it because you all keep me accountable. I mean, you all say to me like, hey, remember you said such and such? And it's on tape. So I can't say I'm going to do something and then don't do it because, truth be told, I had talked about this, did a little video. I was at the Buffalo game, did a video, did one at the Jaguars game, like, hey, we're gonna be raising money for students, scholarships. How about 2 weeks ago, I'm sitting at home, my son's like, win the raffle. I said, what raffle? He said, you said, you know, like when you was a kid, you say, hey, my son said, you said you was gonna have a raffle for the nonprofit. I was like, man, but I ain't ordered I was like, oh shoot. So what I did was I said, you know what, I gotta keep my word, I gotta do what I said I was gonna do. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Because once you put it on, once you put it, especially now, once you put it on a video or something, people will bring that and throw that in your face. Be like, man, you said. So what I did this week is we had some people that gave, and I appreciate the giving. We're going to continue to raise money for these deserving students. And what I'm going to speak into existence is this. Sometime in April of 2018, a college student is going to receive that money that you donated. It's going to be a college student that's going to receive that, and I'm going to do a Facebook Live post with that student, and you're going to see the impact of helping others and see what it's like to help somebody. So we're going to do something that's really like, unconventional, because it's really about the spirit of giving. But we're going to do this right. So we got a pair of tickets for the Atlanta Falcons and the Dallas Cowboys. And as you see, this is what I've done. I said for every donation, every $5 donation, you will receive an entry. So if you donated $10, you got 2 entries. Put your name on a sheet of paper. Here go the sheet of paper. Put your name on a sheet of paper. This is like the lotto. You know how the thing be bouncing around. Put your... If y'all know a producer, man, put it in the chat. Tell me what it called, bro. Because this joke right here, man. And I don't discriminate. So whoever you got, man. But so if you did $20, then you got 4 entries. So 5, you got 4 entries. So what I did basically was just take everybody's name who gave and just roll them up on the paper. The reason I'm doing this on the air so that way can't nobody come, man, he just did such and that. We're going to do this right. So it's just like when you go to a wedding. Anytime you go to a wedding or a funeral, you know what that is? The only reason that you there is to do what? You there as a witness. You there as a witness. So that way if you don't have people show up at your wedding or your funeral or some other very important event like graduation, they can't witness. So you need people to witness so that way they can say, you know what? I saw it. I was there. Yeah, dude fell out when she told him such and such. He fell right out. So that's what this is. So we got our own little lot. Look, we got our own little lottery going here. I want to thank everybody. We're going to do this again in the future. But, and we just going to, bam, just throw it out there on the table. Bam. There's no names. Look, we can do this however y'all want to do it. Throw them up in the air. Whatever we do. So I'm just going to pick a name, right? I will let my producer pick, but I don't even want y'all to see his hand. Because if y'all see his hand, y'all might know that hand. And be able to identify. You can see the little creepy hand coming. I don't know. There's a gospel show. I'm going to tell y'all this joke, but I ain't going to tell you. But I don't want y'all to see his hand coming in from the side. So I'll do it. I'll pick the bird. Because if y'all see that knuckle, if y'all see that knuckle come in, y'all be like, daddy boy, I know that daddy boy. So I don't want y'all to see nothing. I don't want y'all to see nothing of this dude, man. But so we're going to go on and pick this winner, man. And I appreciate y'all. Thanks for tuning in to the Daily Bread Radio Show. And let's see. Go on and do the drum roll, bro. You've been waiting to do that all goddamn day. Look, I just picked the name. Look, we threw them up in the air and everything. Check out who the winner is. And this is what I'm going to do. I have the winner here. So I'm going to pick the winner and I'm going to pick an alternate. And the reason I'm going to pick the alternate is this. If the winner, for whatever reason, doesn't get in contact with me, I have to give the tickets to somebody. So this is the winner. So we're going to put this on here. I'm going to write it on the back of this. Winner. Let me write winner. So that way nobody will get confused. Like, oh, no, man, I was tripping. This says winner, right? So this is the winner. So the winner of the pair of Dallas Cowboy and Atlanta Falcon tickets is Teresa Haywood. Teresa Haywood, you the one. Come on down. Call into the station, 678-381-1973. 678-381-1973. This is the winner. So need Teresa to get in touch with me because these are electronic tickets and I have to send them to you electronically. So this is the winner. So we'll put the winner here and then we'll do the same thing again, right? We'll pop these in and we don't want the producer hand to come in. So we're going to do that again, like, hey, and then we're going to pick another name, see what we got here. Who's the alternate? And then see, got the alternate here. Can't say that I picked them. I just do them. And then we got the alternate, and the alternate, I guess I have to learn how to spell too. Alternate. So the alternate, I hope I spell that right. The alternate is Rhonda Holt. So Rhonda Holt is the alternate. Teresa Haywood is the winner. And that's our first raffle. Hopefully we'll be able to do this again for the Saints game. Saints game is going to be hyped. That's going to be a Thursday night game. We're going to look at doing some tickets for the Saints game and possibly do some for the Carolina Panthers. We'll see how things go. But we definitely going to continue to raise money until April so that way we can help these kids realize the dream of having a college education. So I want to thank you all for tuning in this evening. Teresa Haywood, Rhonda Holt, make sure you reach out to me. Send me an email, dailybreadradioshow@yahoo.com, dailybreadradioshow@yahoo.com. Let me know where I need to send the tickets and I'll send them to you. I appreciate everybody for joining this evening. We had a great show. Make sure you start your business. Make sure you pick up these great books, As a Man Thinketh by James Allen and the Self-Publishing Manual, so that way you can have some product. You can have something that you can start to sell, put it out in the marketplace and put it all over the world. Because once you write a book, the thing about books is this, you can put it out on Amazon or this, that, and other. You tell people, hey, give me $8 for it. But I'm going to give you all a little inside scoop. It might cost you only $2 a copy for a book, right? You're going to get 1,000 copies. And don't be scared with it. Don't be writing no book about something that you think is going to be great and then order 100 copies. Like, nah, be real. Think about it. Be real. Do it for real. Don't play with it. Do it for real. So want to definitely thank you all. Bam, I appreciate, hey man, Bam, I appreciate you, bro. Not like having the homies on. Thelmisha, I see you join. And just keep spreading the word, man, because I ain't stopping. I got a vision. I'll be on a radio by this time next year. I'm not going to leave the producer. I'm going to take the producer with me. So, but you'll never see him. Nor will you see that hand coming in with that knuckle. So, because I don't want y'all to say, oh, yeah, I know who that is. But on a real note, I definitely appreciate the support because it's not like, chasing a dream and just having a couple people to say, hey, you know what, man, I see you. That's all you need to do. So if you're doing something, let me know what you're doing so that way I can be that person that helps support you. Say, hey, man, I see you. I don't know what you're doing. I appreciate it. But, hey, that's all you need to do is I see you, bro. So y'all have a beautiful evening. We'll be back on next week. Are we doing a Thanksgiving show? Are you taking Thanksgiving off? Oh, look at this joke. See, that's why y'all ain't going to see him. I said, we not going to. Hey!
I know how to get you.
Hey! Look.
I know how to get you. See the hand creeping in? See the hand creeping in?
Hey! Let me see that knuckle, man. Hey, boy. Hey, man. I'm not fooling with you, man. I'm not fooling. I love this song, man.
Hold on.
That's Cuz, man. I love Cuz. That's Bubba D, man. That's Big D. That's Big D. We're going to put Big D on the boys, boys. Hey, man, I love them boys, man. That's Duval, man. That's Duval.
There you go.
Woo! But you knew what to play, didn't you?
Huh?
Hey, I'm going to be selling this on iTunes, too. So y'all can put this ringtone on y'all phone.
Lord Jesus.
I'm doing these ringtones. I got these ringtones, bro. So y'all get at me. Count 85 all the way, baby. Come on, you know that. You already know. You already know what's up. Hey, man, that's right. Bubba D. Bubba D put it down for me, cuz. Hey, man. I love that song, man. Woo! Good grief. Ah! Hey, man. Y'all have a beautiful evening. Hey, man.
That's it.
Hey, man. I gotta go, bro.